Aloha everyone, I am going to do a tutorial on how I use Davinci Resolve 16. This is the public beta. It is the free version of the software to edit my season highlights. I already have one saved. Once I make the timeline, I keep the same timeline and I just edit it and add in the new clips, but we'll start off from scratch. So I'm going to start off with an untitled project. Down here is the timeline. There's some tools over here, and this is where the bin normally is. So if you right click, you can open up a bin, basically a folder with all of your files. But what I like to do is I like to just have the folders I need open and then drag and drop. For my videos, I like to start off with audio. I watch a few YouTubers and they start off with their audio and then they fill it in with video. That way they know how much video that they need for the content that they have. For me, I have a stream folder that is on my desktop that has all of my graphics and resources for streaming and for YouTube. I have a music folder here, and there are several ways that you can get music content. There is a YouTube audio library, so I have some music from there and it's saved. I also found a few sound effects packs that were free. I found some songs that I might need permission for before I can use them on a YouTube video. I like them, I just haven't tried to get permission to use them yet. I tried Epidemic Sound. It is a quote unquote royalty-free music platform, but you pay $15 a month. So if you create a lot of videos, it's possibly worth it. But for me, I'm starting out and I don't think I can make that kind of commitment yet. So I tried it out for 1 month and I wasn't sure about it. So I saved the clips that I liked and then I canceled my subscription. Fortunately, I found an artist that I liked from a few years ago and he's given me permission to use his music. So Konane, I have some of his music here. So I have Spectre, Treadstone, and Stamina. I like Stamina the most, and that is what I'm going to use today. But the other thing that you can do when you're searching for music is you can look for stingers. Stingers are short bits of music that fade in and fade out. They're really good for intros and they're really good for transitions and outros. They're about 7 to 20 seconds. This is the music that HarQ uses. I found it on the YouTube audio library and I'll play it for you really quick. And that one is 8 seconds. There is a full song of Scarlet Fire, but if you look for stingers, then that's basically the really short clip. So from here, we're gonna go into Credit Artist, and I'm going to drag down this to my timeline into audio track 1. Right now we only have one audio track. The music looks like it's gonna be kind of loud, so we'll play it really quick and I'll show you. And for me, that's really loud. There's a few ways that you can change the audio volume. The first way, this is good if you have a very long video that you're going to chop up and make it shorter. You just normalize it straight off the bat. So you right click the clip, you normalize audio levels, and it'll make it so it typically doesn't blow out your ears. And we'll try it again. That's a much better volume. Now, if you wanted to adjust it yourself, this line here is the volume adjustment. When I normalized it, it went to -9 decibels. I don't know if I can actually fine tune it there. If you really wanted to be able to get exactly where you want it to be, you could stretch this out and make it so you can fine tune where you end up. I don't think I can get it exactly at 9, but I think I actually want it a little bit softer. So we'll go maybe, I'm aiming for there, 12 or 11. We'll move that back up because this will start filling up pretty soon. We'll try this one more time. To me, that sounds a lot nicer. And I normally cut my song. There's a transition where the beat drops about 12 or 13 seconds in. And right about there, I think I'm gonna cut it. Maybe if I can get it. Yeah, just 0.01 seconds earlier. So now we're going to get into actual editing. I'm going to use the blade tool, which is up here. You can either click it, cut, and then click over here for the selection tool and then get back into selecting. Once I learned keyboard shortcuts, it makes it so much faster. So I'm going to hit B for blade. I'm going to click here where this preview tool thing is, the toggle. I'm going to cut there. I'm going to hit A for arrow and you'll see the arrow has lit up. And then I can click on either clip. From here, I like to transition once the first part of the song is done. You can either cut again and then fade it out. And I can show you that really quick. So I'll go to blade. Let's just cut it there. A for arrow so I can actually edit. These little toggles here will fade in and fade out things. So I don't want to fade in the front part, but I do want to fade it out. So what I can do is I can actually do a really long fade out. This little dot here will make it so that you can adjust how you want to fade it out. I think I'm just going to keep it kind of a straight line. So you can make it fall off more drastically, or you can make it loud until the very end. But we'll try and make it a straight line, and then we'll listen to it here. Back it up a little bit. You can hear it getting softer. Now, in my season intros, what I did instead, I like the ending of the song a lot. So I went to the ending and I clipped about maybe 15 seconds off the end. And so I'll go blade tool, cuts, A for arrow, and then we'll select this and then we'll listen. And that's where I normally get the end of my transition from the beginning. So I'm gonna select the middle and I'm gonna hit delete, and delete is gonna snap this to the front. So it's gonna completely delete it and move this part, whatever is after the delete, up to whatever's next. I'm gonna scroll back and find it. Now, if I wasn't sure which one I wanted to use, I could actually take this, move it to a different track, and out of the way. I can move this forward just to see what it's like. And I already know that I want it to be a softer volume. I'm gonna move it down to about halfway. Then we can listen to what this transition sounds like. And this is how my current highlights are edited audio-wise. I like that part at the end too. I don't necessarily have to do it that way. Maybe for this one, I'll keep the other one. Let's just do a couple quick undos. I'm gonna just delete the ending part. Oh, there. And we'll keep it like this. What we can do is we can drop the volume just a little bit so it's not so loud right at the beginning, and we'll try it this way. To me, that sounds good. All right, so next thing's next. We're going to add graphics and video. For the graphics, I use Streamlabs OBS to get my background video, and I'll show you where I have it filed away. I have a video folder, and then this Alt-Z folder it's basically B-roll. It's background roll, or it's the secondary camera. It's filler video. In film terms, it's the camera angle that doesn't catch the actors from the main perspective. So I just go into the game and I hit Alt-Z, and then I collect video clips. Now, I did this for the All-Star intro, which was kind of cool. I changed my resolution to epic, and I just recorded the game for like, I don't know how, I guess 2 minutes just to get this transition. I don't know if I'm actually going to use it, but I just like the way that they did the Lucio and the Mercy on the load screen, especially this part, the close-up of the Mercy. So we're going to actually find my clips for Overwatch. If you save your highlights into your Overwatch folder and you have it installed in the standard way, like in programs, the way that you find your highlights is you go to this PC, and then you can either go to documents here or you can go to documents there. But I'm going to just do documents here. You'll see Overwatch, and you'll see screenshots and videos. Now, whenever I take this Alt-Z B-roll, I like to also take a screenshot of it, and I use that for the thumbnail. So you do two things at the same time, but we're not going to worry about that. I'm going to go into videos, and I have everything organized into folders right now because I've been working on putting them together by season so that it's not an hour-long highlight reel. I'd rather just separate it out. And it also is kind of interesting to see when, you know, certain heroes transition, like Symmetra's change, Torb's change, Mercy's resurrection changes. Right now, I think I'm on season 14, so we'll take a look at season 14. I have it organized by date. So this is the oldest clip from January 5th, and then this is the newest clip from February 19th. It seems like the first and the last one are both diva. Lately, I've been trying to match my B-roll to the characters that are in the first and the last clips so that it's kind of connected a little bit. Let's see where this one is. This one looks like Highway 66, and this looks like Dorado. So I don't think I have B-roll pre-recorded for either Highway 66 or Dorado. I will go and I have some clips of Diva. I think I'm just going to use Diva Busan Downtown. I'm going to just drag that onto my timeline. You'll see that there's audio here and audio there because the video already comes with audio. Now, if I just drag this over here, it's going to overwrite the songs. And I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is drag this down to a second track, move this over, and now both audio tracks are there. So if you wanted to keep the game sound and have music in the background, you can do it this way. But since this is B-roll, and sometimes when I do B-roll, I talk to my friends on Discord, or I do things on my computer, my microphone might pick up me clicking on the keyboard, etc. So I'm just going to get rid of the video audio. If you look at this, when I drag them, the audio and the video both move together because they're linked clips. There's this little link icon there. I'm going to unlink them by right-clicking and unchecking link clips. And since they're both highlighted, I'm going to click out of both of them, and I'm just going to click the audio. I'm going to backspace, not delete. Backspace leaves everything except for what you're trying to remove. Delete will remove everything that's kind of connected to it. So if I delete, this is what happens. Both clips are gone. And that was Control-Z to put it back up. I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to backspace. And now just the audio is gone. Now, I don't need all of this video. I'm just going to go to the end of my audio clip. And B for blade tool, cut, A for arrow, select, and then backspace to get rid of everything at the end. Now, the other thing that's nice with Davinci is it's really easy to edit transitions if you like fades. You can add all of these more complicated transitions if you want. I just use this little tab for toggle. So I'm just going to drag this in about 1 second. Not very accurate with it. I just try to get close to 1 second. And it'll fade in the video and fade it out. If you've seen my intros on my other videos, I have my Kayla Fox graphic and I also have text. So I'm going to grab my Kayla Fox graphic next. So this is my stream folder. I have a graphics folder. This is the transparent image that one of my friends, Abura, made for me years and years ago. He was very generous to give it to me. And if you're wondering about the little bouncy graphic that's on my stream, it's a gift that my husband made for me. So inspired by this. I'm just going to drag this onto the timeline. As I'm dragging things on here, clips in audio and resources, you'll see them start popping up into the bin. If I front loaded the bin first, this would be everything in that folder. And I don't necessarily want everything in that folder. I just want the things that I'm working with. It's easier that way for me. Now I want this to show on top of the video. And I think I want it to end here where the cut is. So I'm going to drag it till it meets the cut. With this little magnet here, it'll snap the ends to either, if I move this, it'll either snap it to the ends of other objects or it'll snap it to where you have the preview toggle. I'm going to snap it to the end of this audio transition. And if I unclick that, I could actually move it without it snapping. But for now, I'm going to leave it on. So if you have like anything that's precise and you're like, stop going where I don't want you to go, you can just unclick this little magnet horseshoe and it'll stop doing that. So in order to move a graphic on the video, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way. I'm going to go to transform. So it's this transform tool right here. I'm just going to click it to activate it and you'll see all the little points light up. You can resize it. I don't necessarily want to resize it. Oh, GPU memory full. Now, because I have an older NVIDIA card, I get this error. From what I can tell, there's nothing I can do about it. If you have an NVIDIA and you can go to, I think it's CUDA transcoding, then you shouldn't be getting this, but I use this as a reminder for me to hit Control S and save. So I'm going to do Control S, highlight, example, and save the project. Anything that I do will be saved up until the last time that I Control S. I don't necessarily want it that small. I like it big, so I'm going to make it big again. But I do want it to be lower on the screen. So I'm just going to drag. Oh, I've got a spinning wheel. Occasionally, this does crash on me. So it's a good thing I saved. Okay, now we're back. And we're going to go back into highlight examples. So when you do first open Davinci Resolve, this is the screen. I'm going to open up highlight example by double clicking it. And we're back to where we were when I last hit save. So I'm going to go click on the graphic that I want to edit. I'm going to go back to transform. I'm going to make it big again. From here, I'm going to drag it down. I'm just going to eyeball where I want it. I'm going to re-hit transform so I lock it and I don't move it anymore. But if you did want to fine tune where it's transformed to, there's position X and position Y here. Now I accidentally bumped it off center horizontally, so I'm just going to hit 0 and it should recenter. And it wasn't that much, but it wasn't centered. And this is how much I've moved it down. If I wanted to move it down further, I can click on the numbers and move my mouse to the left and that moves it down, or to the right and that moves it up. I think I just want it about there. The next thing that we're going to do is add text. In the toolbox here on the left, there's a few different things. You can do video transitions, audio transitions. What I use the most is titles. I haven't really messed around with anything else. Maybe in the future I'll be able to do more complicated editing. I'm just not there yet. All of these are text. This one scrolls. I use this for the credits in my murder mystery video. And the rest are just standard text. Anything with the lightning bolt is Fusion. Fusion is, I think, down here. And it is a little bit more complicated. You have to deal with nodes and kind of programming what you want the things in the video to do. And I haven't messed around with it yet. So I'm just going to grab some simple text. I drag it onto my timeline. I'm going to add a new layer, add a new track. I'm going to move it up so it's above the graphic. Anything that's up here is going to appear on top of anything down here. Like with this, I could transform it and I can move the title around and it's on top of the Kayla Fox graphic. Now, if I swap them around, you see how it's behind the Kayla Fox graphic. But I want this to be on top just because that's how I usually do things. We'll recenter it and click off the transform. You'll notice that it's in Times New Roman. It's a generic little blurb there, and also it's hard to see because it's white. We're gonna fix that. First thing I'm gonna do is I use Big Noodle Tilting, which is the Overwatch font, just because that's the game I play is Overwatch, and I downloaded that off of DA font. But there's a ton of different text that you can use, plus anything that you already have in your computer you can use as well. So I'm going to go to B on my keyboard. I hit B so I get to the B's really quick, and Big Noodle Tilting is here. Then I'm going to change the text to season 14 highlights. What was the time frame for this? It was 2019, January 1 to February 28th. And it's in the middle of nowhere. You can change, oops, that was the mouse wheel to make it bigger or smaller. So if you wanted to actually place things a little bit different, you can. You can center the text. You can make it right adjusted or left adjusted. I'm going to leave it left adjusted because I'm going to move it up here and I want it to kind of be around her hair like that. We will click on there and you can click on text and it will automatically do the transform tool without needing to do that. And you can move it around, but you'll see it snaps in different areas. And I think that it does that even when, yeah, even when this isn't clicked, because this only affects the timeline. So I'm going to try and get it up here, and I think I can place it without needing to adjust it with the X or Y axis. But if you wanted to get it really up high and you had to adjust it, you can use the Y axis to get it back down. You can use the X axis to get it left or right, but I'm just going to place it about there. And it's in the right position, but it's still really hard to see because it is on lighter colors. So what I'm going to do is add a drop shadow. So over here is all the text. This is the text editing box. If you drop down, there's a drop shadow box. And I'm going to offset. If you think of the white lettering being on top of black lettering automatically, and then you're going to shift the black letters out from under it so that it creates a shadow, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to move both the X-axis and the Y-axis just a little to the left on each. So I'm going to click here and move it to the left, maybe about there. I'm going to click here and drop it down, maybe about there, and now it's a lot more visible and easy to read. I want the text to last all the way through the same as the graphics, so I'm going to drag that longer, and this is what it looks like. Now, I just noticed, I'm going to hit Control S because that GPU thing popped up. I want the graphic and the text also to fade in and fade out with the video. So I'm going to fade that in about a second, and fade that out about a second. We're going to replay this. Now you notice it's blinking and it's kind of choppy. This is just the preview. When you render the video, it's not going to look like that. Just don't worry about it. This is just the preview. Right now, your GPU or CPU, whatever you're using to process this, is processing multiple layers. So when you render it, it compresses it all down so it's not doing as much work. Whenever I have 3 or more layers, it tends to blink out a lot more. So I'm going to go here. And now I'm going to add more text. But instead of getting text from here, dragging it over, and then redoing everything, redoing the font, redoing the drop shadow, retyping everything out, I'm actually going to just backspace that and get rid of it. Highlight this, Control C and copy it. Wherever this toggle is, it will paste it behind that toggle. I'm going to move this down and over. I want to have like 3 little blurbs of something being said before I actually go into the video. And I'm just using the mouse wheel to scroll up and down on the video part of the timeline. I showed you earlier with the audio, stretching it out this way. If you wanted to stretch out the timeline, you can do it this way with this plus minus over here. So if you have a lot of clips, but I kind of like it just in the middle there. And I'm just gonna edit the text. So I know that this text is still up here, but I don't necessarily want it up there. We'll change the text first. What were the highlights? I think I had a lot of Diva. I had a Lucio Boop, Metra, and Torb. So we'll do Diva, Bombs, and Turret. And we'll click this and we'll move it down, and you see it snap to the middle automatically, and then it'll snap to the very center. And I want it on the bottom there, and then actually as No Limits, Mystery, No Limits. I was playing a lot of No Limits. I think I'm actually gonna change this to more No Limits and Mystery Heroes. I'm gonna make this smaller. Maybe there. I'm going to try and get it to about a third. I'm going to copy paste this because now it's in the position that I want it. Move this to where I want to paste next and paste. And then I'm going to put Diva, Bombs, and Turret Kills. The last one that I always do is Enjoy. So enjoy. Now, it didn't fill up the entire space. Enjoy is a really quick word to read. I'm going to move it to the back. I'm fine with it being shorter. I'm going to extend this to meet the enjoy, but now you see the middle clip is longer. From here, I can just grab both clips and I can kind of swing them back and forth until where I think I want to. I'm going to use that as a Control S prompt. So I just saved and try and get it so it's about even. Now, this is what our intro looks like. Oh, I must have undid the fade. So we'll redo this fade over here. And try one more time. I rewatch a lot of my videos so that I can see when I make mistakes like that. Alright, and I'm actually going to make it a little bit louder and then drop off. So about like that. And we'll move on to the next clip. In my season 14 highlights, and I think I'm just going to do the first and the last one so that you can see kind of how I do the clips. I'm going to grab this, drag it down to the timeline, meet it up to the rest of the clips, and then I'm going to automatically fade it in. About 1 second. This looks like it's a little bit loud. I'm going to right click and I'm going to normalize the audio level so it's not blowing out your ears. You could just leave it. I think I left it for most of my other ones, but that looked like it was spiking up pretty high. We'll watch it to see what we can add in as text. Okay, so I think I remember this game. It was no limits. They were 4 mercies and 2 ashes. And it was so hard to get around them because they would just heal each other up and resurrect each other, and it was so hard to push the cart. We ended up going all diva, I think, maybe a couple healers or something, and we finally got them. So I killed 2 mercies and an ash, and I saw the mercy and the ash in the gas station and went after them because I didn't want the one mercy to res the other mercy to res the other mercy, etc., which had been happening for, I don't know, however long we'd already been playing. So we'll add text right when the flash in comes. So it's like a light bulb. It flashes to white and then it fades in. Okay, great. There. I'm going to copy one of these texts. I'm going to paste it. And then it's not going to be in the position that I want it. So I'm going to write, eat my bomb. And I want this up here. And it looks like it's a little bit big. So I'm going to try, well, let's try and move it up first. And then let's see. I need to resize it. I think I should resize it. And you see how it keeps snapping. So I'm going to have to use the X and Y axis to get where I want it. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go to the X and the Y axis. I'm going to use the Y axis and drag it to the right to move it up. I think I'm going to drag it to the right to move it a little bit over. And that's fine. I think I'll add an exclamation mark after that. Eat my bomb. Then we can use this toggle, preview toggle, to try and figure out where I got back into the mech, and then I saw the 2 in the gas station. I got back into the mech, and then I saw them in the gas station, and I'm gonna copy and paste cleanup time. And I want the eat my bomb to probably be the text that you read the longest because you're getting oriented. I've moved the text from the bottom of the screen to the top of the screen. This will give them time to read it and figure out where the text is. I'm going to drag it so that's the longest thing you read, and then this is the other thing that you read, and we'll play it again. It's from about here. I'm actually going to make it not need as long to fade in and fade out for these because it needs less transitions. About there. And from here, I cut right before the logo appears. So I use this fade out that they already do as a transition, and I cut out, there's the logo, so I back up a little bit. B for blade, cut, A for arrow, select the N and backspace. And now I'm gonna fade out the video. There. Well, let's pretend that we've done this to a couple of clips already. I'm gonna go to my last clip here. The only thing I'm gonna do different is I'm gonna leave that ending part. So I'm gonna fade this in. I'm not gonna cut the end, and then we can watch it and add some text. I'm gonna fade this out about a second, and let's figure out what we can write about this. I forgot to normalize the audio, so I'll right click and normalize audio levels and continue playing. Nano Diva. Basically, it was mouse 1 spam. Get this. Control C. Paste. Mouse 1 spam. Go. I don't know where I got the nano boost. Put over here. Paste again, and then I'll be Nano Diva. This one's going to be really quick because it's the end of the clip, but we'll just back it up. I'll move this over here. And we'll back up right before it fades to black. So right there. Shrink the text down to that. It'll be really, really quick. And this is what it's going to look like. So you saw the text, I don't know if you saw it, the text left when it went to black. Go one more time. I find that the really quick text, it's hard to catch, but sometimes you can write really funny things and then people will rewind to try and figure out what you said. It's annoying sometimes when you're watching it, but I think it's funny. I'm probably gonna keep doing it. Sorry. And it fades out and shows the logo. Now we'll do the outro. So to end the video, I do the same thing as I did at the beginning. I use the same audio track. I'm gonna drag it down here, but I don't need all 3 minutes and 30 something seconds. And we'll normalize this because it looks like it's gonna be loud. Normalize audio levels. I'll probably need to drop it even further actually. Maybe about 12. When you post a YouTube video, if you want to do the end cards that I do with my videos where it's like a previous video to link to plus your subscribe button, you need about 20 seconds of video at the end, and I didn't realize that in my first few videos, actually in a lot of them, because a lot of them were just clips from Twitch that I transferred over for workshops and that I didn't edit at all. But once I started doing the season highlights, I noticed that I needed 20 seconds at the end for the end cards. This looks like it's counting about 9 seconds and then 20 seconds. So I need up to here just for the end card-ish, maybe a little less. Then I want to do the text transitions that I normally do, maybe about here. If you were really into audio, you can probably find like to the beat a good place to start. I'm just gonna cut it there. That sounds fine. So B for blade, cut. A for select. I'm going to select the front part and I'm going to delete to snap it towards the rest of my work. I'm going to drag this over here. I'm going to leave space on track 1 because I'm going to drop in another video clip. So I'm going to grab the Alt-Z from my video file. I'm going to grab a different Diva clip. We'll just use the other half of Basan, which is Mecha Base, and I'll drag that onto the timeline. Drag this up here, and now we have our exiting video. Same thing with the front. I don't want the audio from this, so I'm going to unlink the clips, and then I'm going to click out so that they're not both selected. I'm just going to select the audio, and I'm going to backspace to get rid of it, and now I have my clip. I don't need it to be that long, so I'm going to try and find the end of it. I'm going to B for blade, cut, A for arrow, select, and then I'm going to delete the end. I'm going to do the same thing with the video that I did with all the other clips. I'm going to fade it in about a second, fade it out about a second. And then we're going to add all of our graphics. I'm going to grab the graphic again, which is already in the bin. I can reuse it and just drag it back down. I'm going to add text next. So move the preview tool here, and I'm going to right click, add text. Thank you for going down memory lane with me. Preview where it is. I'm going to move it down to the center bottom. I don't know if I need it that long, so I'm going to drag it in maybe to about there. Then I'm going to have the graphic for Kayla Fox. I'm going to drag this out a little bit more because I want two different texts up here. I'm going to fade in the graphic for Kayla Fox. Actually, I want the Kayla Fox all the way to the end. I'll fade it back out. Now we're going to work on the next track up. And we're going to copy, and we'll just paste it. Because it'll always paste in the same track, I'm going to move it to the end. Paste, and then I'm going to move it up and over so that I can actually work on it on a different track. I'm going to move Kayla Fox down, so I'll select that transform tool and I'll drop it down to where it kind of was in the beginning. I think I messed up. No, it's in center, so that's good. And I'm going to move the text and do this transform. And just click the text, and I'm going to make it at the top, and I'm just going to leave it where it snaps. This one's going to say mahalo, which mahalo is thank you, so I'm saying thank you twice, but you know, redundant, it's fine. Mahalo, and have a wonderful day, because I do want everybody to have a wonderful day. I'm going to stretch this out just a little bit. So how much is about 20 seconds? I don't mind if it gets overlapped with the end card, because it'll eventually disappear and then the end card will be left. So I don't mind if it's a little bit long. I'm actually going to add one more track up. So Control C to the end, paste, and I'm going to move it up. And I'm going to move it over, but I'm not going to make it as long. I'm going to scooch this in so it appears after this. And this is going to be my music credit, so I'm going to put music stamina by Konane, because he wanted to be credited. You see how it's on top of the other one. Make sure that the text that I want to move is selected. I'm going to click up here and drag it down, and I'm just going to leave it in center. So now this is what the transition is going out, and you see how many layers it is. It might stop up my GPU. I'm actually going to Control S and then preview it. And this will be when the end card, the video is up here, and then the little subscription is there. And that is how I edit my videos. Once you do all the editing on the timeline, you need to export it. On the bottom here, there's different tabs: media, cut, edit. This is the edit tab. Fusion, color grading. Color grading you can do like black and white and whatnot. I have not messed around with any other tabs except for edit and deliver. Fairlight is where you can edit audio if you're really good at audio, or if you have a microphone that needs fixing or audio that needs fixing. There are other videos that are probably really good to look at for that. This is not it. I'm going to go to deliver, and from deliver, you're going to see these options up here. I'm going to do YouTube because that's where I usually upload my videos to, and I'm going to select MP4 instead of QuickTime. Then I'm going to name the file and browse and see where we want to save it. And I always save it to the stream folder. I'll do highlight example and save. This is the file that's ready to render, and it'll be 1080p. When you add this to the queue, it'll pop up here, and then you'll start the render. And however long your video is, it'll take 2 to 3 times as long as the video is, depending on how many layers you have. The more layers you have, the longer it might take to process. But you start the render and just basically go AFK. Just go away from your computer, let it run its course. you know, take a stretch, get some water, I don't know, do something, and just let it be. I found that occasionally I try to do other things while it's rendering, and sometimes it'll fail to render or whatnot, depending on your computer. I have an older computer and it can't really handle doing multiple things. You just hit render and then it'll export to your file. I have mine here, so like season 13 is here. Then you just post it to YouTube. You can upload directly to YouTube, but you have to link Resolve to your YouTube, and I just haven't done it. I tend to be one of those people that likes to do things manually. I like to know where it is in my computer. I like to upload it myself, etc., etc. And as long as you keep the timeline, if you render and you rewatch it and you find out that you made mistakes, you can just delete the render, go back in, go back to edit, fix whatever needs fixing, and then re-render it. It's always fixable, it's just time. So I tend to rewatch a lot of my clips. Here, I think that the audio jumps a little bit. I would probably make this a little bit softer, but I rewatch this stuff all the time. And we could fade this in actually. Maybe there. It's not as abrupt. And then you can deliver. Control S to save, and then you can go into deliver and fix it and start the render. You see the fix did stay. So once I hit start render, that will be in there. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I do not have a whole bunch of knowledge on Davinci. Basically, you've seen my entire repertoire of tricks. And if this was helpful, please give it a like. I hope you'll subscribe. Have a wonderful day. See you in the next video. Bye.